All right. If you guys care to introduce yourselves and say what you do in the band.
Yeah, I'm Sam. I'm the guitarist and founder of the band.
Yeah, and I'm Joey, bass player. Yeah, pretty much it.
Awesome. I appreciate you guys doing this. You guys are definitely in the realm I'm trying to reach now. With how slam is in all my opinion at all-time high right now.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's definitely picked up a lot since. I mean, even going to your shirt, Peeling Flesh have helped definitely drive that forwards a lot in the mainstream.
Oh yeah, Peeling Flesh I haven't seen yet. I've seen Snuffed on Sight.
Mm-hmm.
And how they're like doing slam. Like I was talking to Don about it. I was like, I feel like slam's at an all-time high. He's like, yeah, everybody's asking for Waking the Cadaver.
That is true. I was talking to him at Death Feast in August, just gone. Now that he's got like the new lineup for it all, and I mean, aside from the fact that they were like the heaviest I've ever seen them, they just there seems to be a big want for more bands sort of doing that style of sort of slam and death metal these days.
Yeah, it all seems to be going like full steam ahead with, like you said, bands like Waking the Cadaver, Peeling Flesh, Snuffed on Sight, just going full steam ahead, and it's great.
Oh yeah, like I feel like slam doesn't get the spotlight it deserves because like the other genres like deathcore, death metal, and everything had its time.
Mm.
And I feel like deathcore, in my opinion, I feel like it's just getting oversaturated with like how the Lorna success is going.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I feel like as well, it's more like an accessible genre, isn't it?
Oh yeah, especially in the United States, like the way I look, like slam is more popular in Europe, I feel.
Yeah, I mean, from our experience playing mainland Europe, especially places like Germany and Switzerland, it's really, really popular.
And it's just absolutely insane.
Mm.
So you guys started the project back in 2017, correct?
I want to say yes. My memories a bit. There's been a lot of shows and a lot of lineup incarnations since it all started. So I want to say 2017 sounds about right. It's been about 7 years now since it started, something like that.
All right. Do you care to explain how like the band came together and like what made you guys like decide to like pursue slam as a genre and like what influenced you guys?
So I mean, as in terms of the band, I used to be in. Well, I say I used to be. I played one show with this band called Malaceptor, which are from Liverpool, and they did more like a slamming death grind thing. Unfortunately, we had one really bad show, sort of inner band politics, ended up the band splitting up, which is a great start to all of that. Just joined a band, just played a show, and now the band's broken up. So I went through that very fast. And then I was like, well, if that's never going to happen again, I might as well do my own thing. So I tried sourcing more local musicians, but I wasn't really in the death metal scene at that point. I didn't know a lot of people. So I contacted anybody I knew that played an instrument and basically just went, just hear me out. I sent them all like a link to some Devourment or something like that. And I was like, this is what I want to do. If you're in for it, let me know and we'll start doing it. And I think maybe two people got back to us. One was my friend Ryan. He plays drums, and our friend Liam, who did vocals for a bit, and it was the three of us. And then those two ended up going and doing another band and left this band. So then it was basically just me writing in my bedroom for a while. We had a couple of vocalists. We had I really hate that I'm absolutely blanking on a name right now, and that's going to make me look like such an arsehole. Will, good old Will Devery. He's a fantastic bloke. It just doesn't come up in conversation a lot, and I feel like that's really, really bad of me. Sorry, Will. he's a fantastic vocalist. But he moved back to New Zealand not long after. Like we started the band, and then there was sort of we played a load of shows together. Everything was really good with that for a while. But I think we just had like a little bit of a clash in differences in what we wanted to do. Which it was a mutual thing. And then he went and moved back to New Zealand. And then we had Barney on vocals not long after him, and he stayed with us for the majority of sort of the formation of the band. It was just me and him with a laptop doing all the drums on stage. And then when it got to sort of the end of Barney being in the band, we asked Kyle, who is our current vocalist. And then after a couple of shows of us two playing, like I say, the majority of the history of the band is just a two-piece sort of thing. It's me on guitars, them on vocals, and so on. And me and Kyle said that we wanted to try and push to actually have a full lineup at some point. But we didn't know who to ask because everyone is already in a band to some degree. So that's when we asked his friend Adam to join on guitar. Like I already knew Adam at the point, but I didn't know him like as well as Kyle did. They grew up together. So he's joined on second guitar. We asked Joey to join on bass, and he's been with us ever since. And then Carl on drums was a bit of a weird one because he'd actually asked us a few times to join as the drummer, but we wanted to just sort of keep with the consistency of a backing track because it meant we didn't have to necessarily go to band practice that often. I can just sit in my room and play, and then we just turn up to gigs and it's the same thing. But when we got to this point, he was pretty much our first ask, and we went straight to him, and all the pieces just sort of fell in together. And now it's been about a year and a half since the full 5-piece lineup started.
Yeah, I think it's been about 2 years, and then we played the first show about a year and a half ago. It was a full 5-piece.
Yeah.
Oh wow, that's a lineup change.
Yeah.
That's definitely cool to see that, like, no matter what, you guys kept pursuing your dream, and no matter giving up, like, it's absolutely insane. Sorry, I'm just waking up over here, and it's just.
I don't blame you in the slightest. It's.
But like, it's like everything with Slam, I think, is just overall going successfully, and like I didn't know who you guys were until like one of my people were like, "This, you should interview these guys," and that's why I was like, "Oh, I'm glad he kind of tagged you guys because I'm doing a Slam documentary as well."
Oh, sorry.
And like I'm getting like everybody and that's why I made a rule with my podcast. Like I'm only interviewing Slam bands this year, and they're just like a lot of people are just like, "Oh, we want deathcore." I'm like, "No, I'm going Slam." That's where the new logo came involved and everything.
That's a sick logo as well, though.
Yeah, I see.
That wasn't me. That was Odik. I don't know how to say his last name, but that was Odik, the guy who does everybody for Slam, like a good chunk of the Slam albums and everything. So my next question for you guys, I know you guys released a lot of material. Are you guys working on new material?
Yeah.
We are indeed, yeah.
It's
Go ahead, sorry.
It started off like a lot of our back catalogue is very straightforward Slam. With this album, and especially now with the fact that we're a 5-piece and that like everybody in the band actually has some sort of like competent level of being able to play an instrument, or if not, then they make us all believe that at least they do.
Not naming names there or anything.
I've made everyone else in this band believe that I am good enough to keep this band going, so I'll run with that. But yeah, we're more going for more like a brutal death metal approach to this one, a bit more technical, a lot more fast-paced sort of stuff. But we're sort of taking a bit more of influence than what like everyone is sort of involved in. I really like the Californian death metal scene, and then a lot of like what the UK death metal scene's doing. Adam and Kyle are really into like New York death metal and the more groovy, slammy kind of thing. So there's going to be a lot of that thrown in. I know Joey comes from a more deathcore background, at least in other bands that he's been in, but he's also the bassist in Castrated, which are more like a death grind kind of band. So there's going to be a little bit of that in there. And
Yeah.
sure,
I mean,
like,
I'm a massive fan of that. I don't know how you'd say it, but like I like to call it like new wave of old school death metal. The bands like Gatecreeper, Fuming Mouth, 200 Stab Wounds. I'm a massive fan of that sort of thing. So trying to put a little bit of that influence in as well.
all the brutal death metal elitists will absolutely crucify us for that, but
Oh yeah, yeah.
you know, if it works, it works.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I think that's Brutal Slam has always been hand in hand in this sense. Like it's always been like you can see Slam like besides like the vocals, like everything is pretty much down to the nitty gritty of Slam.
Oh god, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And like
okay.
oh shit, go ahead.
I was gonna say it's even like going back to like old school sort of like when Slam like originated. It's nowadays, whether it be to the popularity of the genre or to the detriment of the people who are like really into it. I guess like a lot of old school Slam, say like Devourment, was very brutal death metal adjacent. It might not have been really technical, but like it had its fast bits and its slow bits. And I feel like now it's become something that's like slow riffs all the time. And again, whether that's to like the sort of the positive and the negative definitely depends on who you talk to. I see, but like it's the two genres definitely go extremely well together. I've noticed you get a good sort of the fast with the slow works really well.
Oh yeah, most definitely. Like I've seen a lot of brutal slam and brutal death metal now, and I'm just like I need more of it. And like every project I look up, I'm just like this. I add to a playlist called like it's called Someone's Gonna Die Today. And like my boss saw my playlist and she was just like, "What the fuck are you listening to?"
Do you know, I've got a really similar story actually. If I were like, found out what like brutal death and slam was. So I was in high school, and I found the band Cranium, and from there I ended up finding all the other bands, and I had them all in the back of my maths book, like all the names, just so I could remember all the names. And then my maths teacher found my book and was like, "What are you doing? Like, what is all this?"
Yeah, like I feel like Cranium is a good one. They are definitely really good with everything. I'm friends with Jack when he was the vocalist. Sadly, he's not part of Cranium anymore. But like I was talking to him the other day on the phone, and I was like, "This, I definitely love everything you do, and you need to be in another band." And he was like, "This, well, I'm a dad now, so it's kind of hard to work two things out at once."
Yeah, yeah.
I was gonna say we're pretty good friends with Jack as well, so we've got that in common.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I understand that obviously comes. It's awesome seeing him on stage, and I'm happy to have said that I've seen him with Cranium in the past. I've seen him with oh god, what's his other band? Septic.
That's it.
God, all the names fall.
You played with him with Guttural Slug as well, didn't you?
Septic Congestion. That was it.
Yeah.
Septic Congestion. All the names. All of the people in these bands are going to watch this, and I'm so sorry I'm forgetting all of this.
I was going to say, didn't you play with him with Guttural Slug as well?
Yes, yeah, that is. I filled in for second guitar for the first Guttural Slug show as well, so got to play a show with him for that, and he also did guest vocals on Spasticated Encrypplement for us.
He did, yeah.
So yeah, we've got a good relationship with him. He's an awesome guy, and nothing but love, and with all the other guys in Cranium as well. They're like the sickest dudes.
Oh yeah, I definitely love everything they do. My favorite song from them is Midget Fucker.
That's
No.
the first one I
It-
ever found by them.
Reading still hold like the title for like my favorite like slam song title, and that is "Face Fucked with a Brick." Like it's just so fucking ridiculous and brutal that like the song could have sucked. It doesn't, but the song could have sucked, and it'd still be like the best thing ever.
Oh yeah, I'm just realizing like half like when I look up a lot of slam stuff, I've realized the song titles are absolutely like crazy. I'm just like, what the fuck am I listening to?
Yeah, that'll do it. That'll do it. Crepitation are really good for stuff like that.
Yeah, they are.
Like,
So there's no sense.
I got like a recently I just seen Ingested, and I got one of their first like shirts from their first album when it was all slamming, where it's the girl like having like that plant come out of her. My boss is like, you got to turn that inside out. I was like, I don't even know what this is. And she was like bullshit. But like, I've listened to a good chunk of your guys' I can't even say that word today, discography. And you guys are absolutely killing it no matter what you guys are doing.
Oh, cheers, man.
Thanks, man. Okay.
And like as soon as I confirmed it, my buddy T.O. was all like this, I know who they are.
That's sick. I love that.
That is good to know. That is good to know. I still feel like we get trapped in that like we're just that small band from Manchester feel. Like it's still pretty cool to find that like people in other countries know who we are and stuff like that. That is still pretty mental to find.
Yeah.
How would you guys describe the slam scene over there compared over to, yeah. Have you guys been in the United States?
Not yet. No. Trying to make it happen.
Yeah, we're gonna try our best. I've looked at it from the grass is always greener perspective. Like the UK and Europe has a really good slam scene, but because it's all bands that I've either played with or seen a lot before, there's a lot of bands that I like really want to go and see and meet the people or play a show with, and they all just seem to be American. I feel like that's where like sort of death metal has its origins, and that's where like a lot of extreme metal has its origins and stuff like that. So especially for like the more extreme sounding stuff, not to say that like Sweden hasn't contributed a lot in respect to that, but if you're talking about like just straightforward like brutal sound, America has a lot to do with that.
Yeah.
So I feel like every time I see, say, like Texas Domination Fest that's just happened, I see a lineup like that, and I feel really jealous that I will never probably get to see all of those bands in a weekend without having to pay a small fortune to go out of my way to go and see them. But then a lot of people in America will say the same thing about, say, lineups in Manchester that happen, or lineups in anywhere in Europe. So I suppose it's that we think your lineups are the best, and they think our lineups are the best, and there's that sort of. You always want what you can't have.
Yeah, if we could just have like a little island in the middle for everybody to go to, that would be fucking sick.
That would be amazing. That would be amazing.
Yeah, because like that's one of my like we talk like I'm a group of like 35 people, and we all discuss shows, and like one of my buddies, Alex, his brother lives in Germany. So like his brother would be like this, look what I get, and he'll be like, look what I get, and it's just like this. Okay, you guys don't need to compete who gets the better headliner or show. Like, I think the only thing I got jealous of from Europe so far this year is the Suffocation lineup with Sans Susugabog.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we were at the show for Manchester, weren't we, Sam?
Yeah, that was an absolute
Insane.
hella lineup. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's just like, it's one thing to be jealous, like, but we all love the same music. It just sucks that like we all can't like combined in one place and just enjoy shows.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, one day it'll happen.
Yeah.
Things just got a lot harder. Like, I mean, we've been quite lucky. I never thought that we'd get to see To Violently Vomit once this year, let alone twice in the same year. I mean, I'm an insanely massive Disgorge fan, and Joey will definitely attest to the fact that he knows that I am. But yeah, getting to see them and play alongside them in Switzerland was pretty mind blowing. But then getting to see them again in Manchester earlier this year was, again, pretty mind blowing. So I'm hoping more American bands can come over in the future, and vice versa. It's just very, very costly.
Oh yeah, that's one thing that I've like talked to people about, like how expensive travel is anymore for bands. Like how I think it was the United States kind of fucked that up a little bit for bands to come over.
Yeah, it was a bit earlier this year. I think like an artist visa or something like that is now, I think it used to be $400 per member, and now it's like $1,600 per member. And if that visa gets denied, like we don't even get a refund on that. Like you pay and you might lose it, which from our perspective is a lot of money to lose on the gamble of we might not get in. But you know, at some point we're going to do our best to get out there. At some point, it is definitely a bucket list to try and sort of travel the States and play a load of shows.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to try and work out the ins and outs, trying to make it work as part of the album cycle for when we release this new album.
If you don't mind me asking, who does like the main writing? Like, do you guys write together, or do you guys write your sections in like different separate, or how's that all work?
I mean, at the moment, it's a little bit of a mixed bag. Like me and Adam, I'll basically write a song, and then Adam writes a song, and then we argue the toss until we've both got enough of each other's sections in one song, and then we go, right, that's it. And then to avoid arguing over it more, we just go, right, just start something new. You know, because I feel like because we all want it to be like exactly what we want to hear. And sometimes the best thing to do is just go, right, that's finished. Let's do something different. And then if we end up writing more songs than the album needs, we can just pick the best of of whatever we've got.
Yeah, but I feel like it's quite a healthy thing to where like if you give yourself too much time to write something, you'll never settle on anything. Yeah. You've got to give yourself a bit of credit and a bit of trust in the process that no, this what you're writing, like no, this is good. And just going with it.
Well, yeah, in terms of actually like who's writing songs, I feel like me and Adam definitely. I know Joey doesn't actually have the means to record anything at the moment, do you?
A little bit, but it's not the best.
Because I know Joey does like send us like little tidbits of like, oh yeah, well maybe like we'll try this and we'll do that, and then me and Adam will try and incorporate that into something. But it seems to be because of like how fast and sort of technical we want it to be. It's hard to sit around each other and be like, right, well I've got this like 4-bar section in this time signature. It needs to do this or this, and you can't really hash that out. I feel like you need to have something already recorded to show people.
So yeah, that works with what me and Carl do. So essentially, I know like you and Adam would like come together on like a set of riffs, and then I'll write a bass line for it, and then Carl you'll have like a little program drum track that you've made, and then Carl will then add his own little flair onto it and make it his own with his actual kit, and then it becomes a full thing.
Yeah, like I mean, our most recent song that we have actually been playing live, which is called Recantation of Faith, that started out somewhere. I know I've got it. It's like the original take of that song, which starts the same as we've got it, but goes into something in the middle section that's completely different from what this is. And because me and Adam just sort of went, like, we sort of butted heads a little bit, it ended up making the song a lot better than what it originally was, because at one point I was just going to go, no, that's the song, that's it. And I think in like a fit of rage, I deleted 3/4 of the song and just made myself write something completely different to anything that came before it. I made sure to like go, right, I'm not going to fall into everything I just did and write the same thing again. And since then, it's definitely one of our more fun songs to play, and it definitely shows the progression of what we've done in the past to where we are now.
Yeah, it definitely shows like what the music was like in the past, and then the sort of direction we're going for with the album as well.
Hell yeah, that's definitely dope. Like hearing that. Uh, so like I know you guys are working on new material. Do you guys have a time slot where you guys are thinking of releasing it?
Next year.
Yeah, we'll go with next year.
That's all we can say is next year. It was meant to be this year, but I feel like because of the fact that we changed a lot going into this, and we've made a lot more decisions as a 5-piece that sort of help us figure out where we're going. We've just had to sort of go, right, next year will definitely be the time that we do it. And as we've not got a lot of shows on now between the end of November and going into next year, we've got a lot more time to sort of sit down and focus on what it is that we want to do and songs that we're writing to make sure that it is ready for next year.
Awesome. That is definitely unique. I know I asked this a lot, but like, what are some of the bands you would like to see to like play with? Like, who would be like a dream lineup for you guys to like, oh, I would love to play with these guys.
I mean, the one that always springs to my mind is Suffocation.
Yeah.
Like, just being able to play with them would be amazing.
That definitely.
Say Discord, wouldn't you, Sam?
Well, I'd love to say Disgorge under the name of Disgorge. That would be. Yeah. We technically have already played with them.
Yeah, true.
You know, and whatnot, and that was mental. Technically, I've played in them.
Yeah.
Thankfully, so in Manchester, me and my friend Jack booked this festival called Awful Fest, which is just a big weekend of brutal death metal. And this year we had To Violently Vomit headline, and thankfully, with some behind the scenes talking between To Violently Vomit and Jack over my birthday weekend, I managed to pull some strings to get me to play my favorite Disgorge song on stage with them. So that was I absolutely just I will never not talk about that. That is my claim to fame. I will be buried with that on my tombstone. It was cool. But if we're talking other bands, are we talking strictly bands that are still playing, or can I have like a bucket list, like they're not around, but like there's a possibility?
Anything you want, bro.
Oh, Cinerary any day of the week. They dropped one of the sickest fucking EPs in the world, and then just went bye and dipped. You know, Matty Way is insane, but yeah, I'd love to have played a show with Cinerary. Cerebral Effusion, that would be a good one. They're absolutely amazing. Putridity, I'd like to play a show with. I mean, Excoriation on Joey's shirt. Absolute Russian brutality. They're absolutely insane. I could go on for hours about bands that I'd like to play with. I feel like that's the only reason I got into promoting, is to book bands that I just really want to see. So yeah. Other than that, I don't know if there's any that Joey would like to add to that, if he's got any.
I mean, I think one that springs to my head at the minute is my sort of dream tour lineup would be Suffocation, Internal Bleeding, and then us, which would be insane, and then our lads from home, 357 Homicide.
Oh yeah.
Just having, just a big mates lineup would be insane.
Yeah, no, anything that 357 are on is always guaranteed to be a banger.
Mm.
Yeah, those guys are very, very sweet. I I've been talking to them about the podcast. We just haven't had a like timeline up.
They keep themselves very busy.
Yeah, they do.
I'm actually fairly sure they are currently playing in Berlin tonight.
They are, yeah, because they're
Yeah.
also embryectomy, aren't they?
Yeah, and epicardiectomy as well.
See, that's stuff like I would love to like. That's one thing I understand. Like with Europe, like you, like if you live in like Manchester, you could go down to Germany pretty quick and stuff like that. I would assume.
Yeah.
For,
About
like,
an hour's
take a
flight.
3-hour drive just to go up to Chicago.
Yeah, I've noticed. I bumped into some people from Canada a couple of weekends ago. I was in York, and I was saying that like I live in Manchester, and they were like, "Oh yeah, we're just on like a day trip to York from London," and I was like, "It's like a 6-hour drive. Like that's like no, I'm staying there for a week because I've had to drive 6 hours to get there." Like 3 hours from Manchester to London for me is like I dread that. That's like my entire day gone just traveling. But like we're a really small country. So like when compared to like places that are really big and they're like, oh yeah, it's like an 8-hour drive to the next city. And I was like, I wouldn't do that.
Oh yeah, that's definitely for sure. Like I told my metal buddies, like we travel a lot to like Chicago, Milwaukee, like other states. And I told my buddy because we're going not this weekend, but next weekend we're going to see Lorna Kubla Khan in Sensatsugabog.
Oh, nice.
I said, I'll drive there, but you're driving back because I gotta work in the morning.
Some long drives. I know we were talking about the possibility of doing, if we were to come to the US, doing, it was like Texas, weren't it, Sam?
Yeah, because I knew some people in Houston that had put us on, and then we'd basically just do like 5 or 6 shows just around Texas.
Yeah, it just blew my mind how big it actually is, and how the drives in between each city that you could just do a tour in Texas.
Yeah, it's like the states are absolutely insane. Some of the things you see in like different states because some bands select certain cities on their tours. And where I am, I'm based in the middle of like pretty much like you can head west to the west coast, east coast, south, because I live in the northern region, and I always drive like no matter what. One of my favorite sayings is, "Oh, when I see people, oh, I want to go to that show, then just drive." And
Yeah, I get that.
to Minneapolis, which is a 6-hour drive from here. And I went to go see Cannibal Corpse, Blood Indication, Gore Guts, and like I was like, you got to risk it sometimes to drive.
I don't know what's going on with me. The sun is killing me out here.
Oh, you've got sunshine, Sam. It's currently raining where I am.
It's not even sunshine. That is the reflection of a house behind us. That is, it's awful. It's blinding me a bit.
Oh yeah, like
I'm just gonna ignore me for a minute. I'm just gonna move around so I'm not dying. There we go. There we
but
go.
I definitely appreciate you guys hopping on. I'm glad for that one guy to tag you guys, and definitely glad to have you guys on the podcast. I just want to say that.
Yeah,
yeah.
Great.
The Southern Banana Man.
Yeah, I didn't know who he was because like with the podcast, I don't know who listens to it, so I'm just gonna put it out to the world. Whoever listens to it, I don't give a shit.
Yeah, Josh has actually been quite a big follower of ours for a while now. He actually has our old stage backdrop.
Oh wow!
That was a series of unfortunate events that ended up in him owning a little piece of history of the band. So he was supposed to have. He bought a flag, like an album cover flag, off us, and I am like I ship things out merch wise, but I'm also awful for just missing orders. Like I hands up, like I always admit that I am. I'm terrible for it. I mean, I always make sure people get their items, and if it has taken a little extra, I always make sure there's like a couple extra little freebies in there because as an apology, like I make it up. But I sold 2 of the flags, and then I realized that both of the one of them went missing, and I had no idea where it went. So I said, I can ship you out a couple of T-shirts up to the cost of this, and a CD or something. He was like, no, I'll just wait till you find it or something. Now, we kept looking for it for months and months, and it just wasn't showing up. And by that point, we'd already said about getting a bigger backdrop anyway. And a lot of the venues that we played weren't accommodating for a backdrop to go up. So I was like, well, if we're retiring that because it's got our old like version of the logo on it, and we're not going to be seen with that on stage anymore, I was like, can we all just sign it and I'll just send it to him as like oh, well, you can just have this instead because, you know, we're not going to use it. So it's either going to go in storage or we're going to sell it anyway. And I think I only got it for like pennies because a friend of mine worked at the company where it got printed. So I think we all just signed. I think everyone signed it but Kyle. And then because he wasn't at the practice that we signed it. We all like stood at the boot of my car with a Sharpie quickly signing it. I think we actually signed it before we went to Berlin.
We did, yeah.
We did in the boot of my. We left it in the boot of my car.
Where's the camera? If you're watching this, next time you're at a show, bring it and we'll get it signed for you. We'll finish it off.
Promise. We'll make that happen.
I'll be sure to tag him when the podcast episode comes out so he listens and he knows.
Sweet.
I know he lives like right at the bottom end of the country. So getting him up to a show is going to be hard. But if we can get down to Southampton any day, we'll do it.
Yeah.
Southwest Heavy Fest, Buckers.
Yeah, but like I think he messaged me out of the blue one day because like I don't pay attention to really a lot of people when they message me because let's be real, Instagram's known for being bots.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he messaged me and I'm just like this, I don't know who this dude is, but sure, what the hell. And like he was talking to me about it and he was all like this, giving me a list of bands. He's like, you should interview all these guys. And it was like my busy year. And I was like, yeah, I'll get to it when I can. Because like I think last year was the craziest year for the podcast. I had recorded like 52 episodes.
What the hell?
And like I tell a lot of people, if you want to be part of a podcast game, get ready for a wild ride because you don't know if you're going to get a yes or a no for some of these bands.
Yeah, we're glad to be a part of it, man. Really appreciate it.
Oh yeah, happy to be here. Thanks for having us on, especially with such short notice between the tag and now sitting here.
Oh, you guys are all good. Like my favorite like episode I ever did is when I got Paul from Cannibal Corpse because I never knew it was the real dude. Because like he's not verified on Instagram. Like so when you look up Palmer Cigarettes, you get like 8 accounts and I messaged all 8 of them and like one answered me and I was like, watch, it's gonna be some dude that's chilling there that's naked.
Yeah,
Then he answered the phone and it was the actual Palmer Cigarettes.
I think I've got him on Facebook, like his actual account. And I was like, I just, you know, like when you see like, oh yeah, you've got like Corpse Grinder and then such and such a person and all these. And occasionally I'll just go, no, I'll just send a friend request out and I'll see what they do. And then like I get added and then I'm flicking through it. I'm like, if this is a spam account, like this is a really detailed spam account to look like Paul Mazurkowitz. That's like, if it was a bot account, why would you be posting that you went to Denny's like 2 days ago with your family, you know?
Yeah, like I was you guys probably know the acacia strain.
Yeah.
And how like everybody makes an account for Vincent and it's always a spam account. Like there was one time some of like my friend got trolled because he was all like, "This guys, Vincent accepted my friend request." I was like, "Oh no."
It's like that Chris Barnes one that like everyone keeps adding. Like you go to the profile and it's like, oh my god, you're like the best vocalist ever, and then it's just like some sweaty dude in his basement. Like it's not Chris Barnes. It clearly isn't Chris Barnes, but everyone still believes it's Chris Barnes.
Yeah, he runs the 6 feet under Facebook. I know that.
Yeah.
And like I asked him to be on the podcast because they're playing like a 2 hour drive. So I was like, I'm on 6 feet under, screw it. And like he commented back, he's like, I'm good. I was like, damn, I just got trolled like a motherfucker. Then like, yeah, some of the like it's getting insane. Like seeing some of these guys that's like, since a lot of them are getting popular, you see a lot of fake accounts anymore.
Yeah, I think it's like every 2 or 3 days, like I'll be like fine for notifications, and then it'll be like, oh yeah, come get like a Lille Gruber brand T-shirt, and it'll be like a spam account like selling like fake merchandise, and I'll be like one of the 7 people tagged in the comment, and then it'll be like another person. I'm swear down, I've seen one of Joey. That's and I've seen like one of me hasn't popped up, and I'm quite thankful for that. But I do just get like random like someone on my friends list who's in a band, and they'll be like, "Oh yeah, buy like a Joey Whitehurst like T-shirt," and I'll be like,
I'm probably selling merch in my face. I'm buying that shit straight away.
"That's how you know you've made it, isn't it?" Like
Yeah.
people aren't just bootlegging your band's merch; they put in your face on the merch and selling it.
There you go. We can start messing with Joey, just tagging him in random posts.
That might be the next thing I do with the band. Like I'll just be like, buy an official Joey Whitehurst T-shirt. It's just you.
The crazy,
Like my mum as well, just to make sure she knows that I've made it.
Yeah.
the craziest thing I've ever seen is it was Dan Tucker from Crown Magnetar. He made a status saying you should come out to these shows, and it was just like the actual him. Then like the bot underneath comments is saying you should buy this limited protein shake. And I'm just like, what the fuck? I'm like, no, that is not okay.
My favorite pastime at the moment is replying to bots that like are trying to sell me tickets to my own event. That like we'll be playing a show, and I'll get like a bot being like, I have like 3 spare tickets. Me and the family couldn't make it, and I was like, you're like some white suburban mom from like wherever in the States. Like you're not coming to some gritty pub in Manchester to watch us. Don't have me on.
I definitely want to go out to Manchester. Like I said, like you guys' scene is absolutely insane.
I definitely think it's worth the trip.
Because me and my friend, like next year, I'll be moving in with my buddy, and he's like, "I'll only charge you $400 for rent," and I'm like, "This, huh?" And he's like, "What?" And I was like, "You want to go to Germany? I want to go to Manchester."
Do both.
And he was all like, "This." Well, his so his mom's like his mom was born in Germany because his dad was like one of those army guys that was stationed over there, and then he met his mom and all that shit. And he's all like, "This. If you want to go to Germany with me next year, we can." I was like I'm sleeping the whole plane over.
Yeah, no, I've done the flights. I flew into LAX, which was like 13-hour flight, which was awful. And then I flew out of San Francisco, and that was mind numbing on the way back. Mostly because I was stuck between 2 people who refused to get out of the chairs when I needed the toilet. But
Oof. Nope. That is terrible.
You sort of deal with it. I think I've never crossed my legs so hard in my life, other than maybe like extended Lord of the Rings marathons. You know, like you start watching them, like the only time you get up out of your chair is to like either change the DVD if that's how you're watching it, or to like quickly just stand up, stretch your legs, and then sit back down again. Like you don't leave the room. Once you press play, like you're in it.
I can't do the Lord of the Rings. That's too long. I sleep too much. Like my best friend gives
That's how I got through the flight on the way back, because they had all 3 Lord of the Rings films as the in-flight entertainment. So I just watched all 3 back to back.
my best friend gives me shit all the time because like I literally sleep like on my day off. He'll hate it because he'll text me like, "You want to hang out today?" I'm like, "Sure." Then he'll text me, "Did you fall asleep again?" But it's because I work so much. I work like 12-hour days, even though I'm not supposed to, but I work 12-hour days. So I'm just like, I love my sleep. Like my friends invited me to a wedding today. They're like, "Come to our wedding." I'm like, I'd rather sleep. So I think I don't have any more questions for you guys. I really appreciate everything you guys are doing. Keep up with the positivity with this stuff.
Yeah, thanks, man. Yeah.
It's been good to see.
When I do the Slam documentary, I'll probably get a hold of you guys again. Because I'm trying to get everybody and anybody on board with it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, just
sounds fun.
more than happy to.
it's going to be a 2-hour documentary.
So
Sick.
So Wick, we already have so like a lot of people are gonna probably listen to it. So we already got 3 bands on board for it. It's Esophagus, well 4. Esophagus from South Africa, I believe. Pyrexia, Internal Bleeding, and Waken the Cadaver.
nice.
Sick.
Nice.
So like I'm trying to find everybody and anybody because and also Jack from the old vocalist of Cranium. So
Yeah.
me and him always talk like I never thought I would have a brother that lives in another country, but the way me and him talk anymore, it's just like we're like a brotherhood. And when I told him about the Slam documentary, he's like, "I want to be a part of that."
Oh, he's absolutely one of the most like upstanding, loveliest guys I've ever had the pleasure of knowing.
Oh yeah, he's a big sweetheart. I didn't realize how tall he was. I was like, "Holy shit!"
Oh, he's an absolute unit. There's no way to describe it. He's a tank.
And like I'm only 5'4", so I had to look up to musicians half the time. Like, hello. Like
Yeah.
the only musician I never felt short by is Kyle Medina from Body Snatcher.
Yeah, that's fair.
So, all right, you guys have a great day. I'll probably have the episode out by Tuesday,
Sweet.
Yeah, cool.
so we all could share it and get it out. And you guys, I'll make sure to tag everybody, and we'll get it rolling again.
Yeah.
Sweet. Yeah. Thanks for having us.
No problem. You guys have a good day.
Hey, you too.
Take care.